Good evening and welcome to another story, one of 26 a day for 26 days under the 2.6 challenge. It's a gift, and if you feel called at any point to wish to make a donation to the Stroke Association, please do. I have a Just Giving page at justgiving.com/fundraising/Sandra-Regan1. Anyway, this evening's story is about a parrot. There was once a wealthy merchant who lived in a fine house surrounded by beautiful things that he'd collected from his journeys around the world. He had beautiful tapestries hanging on his walls. He had finely carved furniture and great big brass dishes. So many beautiful things. And he was planning another trip. This time he was going to India. And as he usually did, he went to all his servants and asked them if there was a gift that they would like him to bring home for them. Well, this one said, "Please could I have some silk to make a dress with?" And another one said, "Oh, I should love a beautiful fine necklace of gorgeous coloured stones." And another one asked for a figure made of brass. So he took all these ideas, he took notes of all these things that his people would like him to bring for them, and then he went into his living room and he looked into one of his most treasured possessions, which was a beautifully gilded cage with a bright velvet perch on which there sat the most beautifully coloured parrot, feathers the colours of jewels, shining bright eyes, and when she sang, oh, she sang like nothing he'd ever heard before. In fact, it wasn't the cage itself that was his finest, most treasured possession. It was this incredibly gorgeous parrot. And he said to her, "I'm going to India," which is where she came from. And he asked if there was a gift that she would like for him to bring back for her. And she fixed her shining eyes on him and she said, "There is not a thing that I would like, but what I would really, really like you to do is to go to the trees in the forest where all my relations live, and I would like you to ask them if they have a message for me. I should like you to describe to them how I live, this cage, how I sing for you, and I should like for you to bring back the message that you receive." Well, off he went to India. When he finally got there, he spent days conducting his business, finding out the treasures that he would like to trade in for himself, buying those gifts for his people. And when he concluded his business, then he went to the forest. And when he arrived, he couldn't believe his eyes. The trees, all the trees, were filled with parrots of the most incredible plumage, the colours beyond description, so vivid, so clear and clean. And he knew that these were the relations of his parrot at home. He was brought up to be polite, so he bowed to the assembled parrots and he greeted them and introduced himself. And as he had promised, he described the conditions that his parrot at home lived in and explained that she was looking for a message from them. And no sooner had he finished speaking than out of the top of the tallest tree there dropped like a stone a stiff parrot, and it fell at his feet, and he didn't know what to do. It was clearly dead. And he thought, well, this must be a relation of my parrot, and how sad she will be when I tell her of her relation's death. And he left, and he sailed all the way home. He gave the gifts that he had brought to his servants, and he went to talk to his parrot. She fixed her eye on him again, and she said, "Have you brought my gift?" Well, he said, I'm so very, very sorry. I really don't know how to explain this to you. But when I conveyed your message to your relations, one of them dropped like a stone dead out of the tree at my feet. And no sooner had he finished saying this than his parrot dropped like a stone from her perch, stiff as a board, to the bottom of the cage. He was dumbstruck. There was no warning. She had been perfectly fine, and now she was dead. And in complete bewilderment, he opened the cage and carefully lifted out his beautiful parrot and cupped her in his hands. He carried her to the windowsill and very carefully and reverently laid her there so he could open the window to let her soul fly free, at which point she spread her wings and she flew right out of that window to the top of the nearest tree. He couldn't, this was all too much to take in. First she was dead, and now she'd risen up and flown out of the window. And he called to her, and he called her, and he said, "Come back, come back. Your cage is here. Your beautiful velvet perch is here." But she shook her head, and she said, "You brought me back what I most desired, and you have given it to me, and for that I will always thank you. For what the Spirit desires most in all of us is freedom." So once again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow for another story. Have a good time today. Bye bye now.